Meeting will come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Capone.
Here.
Counsel Della Sola.
Here.
Counsel DeFlorio. Counsel DePiero.
Here.
Counsel Mangan. Counsel Matusky. Counsel McKinnon.
Absent.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Here.
Counsel Napolitano.
Here.
Counsel Simonelli.
Here.
Counsel Hanlon.
Here.
9 members are present, Mr.
9 members present, will all stand. In the audience, please stand and join us in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The audience, please remain standing. We get to inform you of the passing of John McKinnon, who was father of our counselor, Leo McKinnon. John Leo McKinnon passed away, and also Mary Bagarella, who was a real estate agent in the city of Everett, a strong supporter of the business community of Everett. So a moment of silence for the two of them. Thank you. Thank you. Clerk will read the first item on the agenda.
First item on the agenda, Mr. President, is public participation.
Participation?
Motion made and seconded to open public participation. All in favor? All opposed? It has passed. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the city council on any matter whatsoever? Oh, I thought you were coming forward. Is there one in the audience that would like to address the city council? Any matter at all? Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be on the agenda or anything. Thank you very much. Okay.
Make a motion to close public participation?
Motion made and seconded to close public participation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the public participation has been closed. Clerk will read
Mr.
item-
Chairman, I have a sign-in sheet.
Okay, oh, good.
If we could please suspend the rules and take items 2 and 3. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 2 and 3.
Motion made to take items 2 and 3.
Collectively.
We'll take my 2 and 3. And a second, please? Second. Any further conversations? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Items 2 and 3 is before you. Item 2, I'm sorry.
Item number 2 is an order sponsored by Counsel John Hanlon, President, to transfer $12,000 from DPW wire expenses account into the ISD wire expenses account.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Yeah, make a motion to suspend the rules, we'll suspend Rule 13 with regards to items 2 and 3,
Just do item 2, please.
with regards to item 2.
There is a communication?
On item 2,
Yes.
read it, please.
Communication, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby submit for your consideration in order to transfer $12,000 from DPW wire expenses account into the ISD wire expenses account. Both wire employees were transferred to the ISD department. This transfer will move their wire expenses from the DPW to ISD, enabling paperwork to be handled by the clerks in ISD. I recommend your favorable passage of this order. Respectfully submitted, Carlo Di Maria, Jr., Mayor.
Favorable action on the order.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action. Any further discussion on the motion? I think,
I thought we did. Oh,
I would just
Well, let's
move
do it
on,
again.
on the suspension of Rule 13.
I second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to suspend Rule 15. Rule 15 is the rule
13.
that says it shall be
13.
referred to the budget for suspending that rule.
13.
13.
13. Did I say 13? 13. Okay, motion made to suspend it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rule 13 has been suspended. And I also have a motion for favorable action and was second. On that motion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by answering the roll.
Roll call.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky. Yes. Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
9 yeas, 0
President.
nays. You have passed the order. Clerk will read item number 3, please.
Item number 3 is an order sponsored by Counsel John F. Hanlon as president to raise and appropriate $80,000 for the DPW's fiscal 2017 budget for the DPW's recycling disposal account.
Mr. Chairman, I believe either this has to go to committee or we roll over for 2 weeks.
Either or.
So it's up to the board, but I believe there would be a lot of questions in this, so I would recommend that we lay it over for 2 weeks to our next meeting.
2 weeks.
2 weeks to our
No.
next meeting.
All ways and means, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Make a motion to send it to Ways and Means.
I don't have a second.
Second that.
Okay. Counselor?
Yeah.
I'll do whatever. the wish of
Counsel
the body.
McCoshen, did you have it?
Yeah, he moved to send it to Ways and Means.
Huh?
He moved to send it to Ways and Means.
Okay. Oh, okay. I need a second.
I did.
Second, we have another motion to refer to the Committee on Ways and Means. That would take precedence over the 2 weeks. So on the motion to refer to Ways and Means, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, the ayes have it. You have referred to Ways and Means. Clerk will read item number 1, please.
Mr. Chairman, please suspend the rule and take items number 15.
With number 13,
15.
15. Second, please. Motion made and second to suspend the rules and take item number 15 from the calendar. All in favor? All opposed? Clerk will please read item number 15 on the agenda.
Item number 15, resolution sponsored by Council Fred Capone, a representative from Community Development, and a representative from the contractor conducting the work at Florence Street Park appear at our next council meeting to discuss the project.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. If we could, if there are representatives in the audience, we could please have them before us.
Okay. Sir, please.
Good evening, Tony Sousa, Director of Planning and Development.
Is there anyone
Counselor?
from the contractor here?
I don't, is there a
The,
contractor present?
The contractor is present as well.
Oh,
Yes.
would they come forward? Is the contractor for the Florence Street Park present?
Good evening. Greg Antonelli, contractor, Florence Street Park.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to our guests. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here. Not looking to point fingers. I just want to get some answers as far as when this is going to get resolved. Not a week goes by, I don't have a call or a question from someone what's going on. It has gone on for quite some time. I'm interested to know what steps are left and what kind of time frame we're looking at to complete it.
The only thing that's troubling to me is when you say, you know, what's going on, or like, guys are there every day working. This is a $2 million job. This isn't a 4-month project, no matter start to finish. There have been some delays from the initial beginning of the project.
If you want to address those, feel free to. It's just that it's gone on for a couple of summers, and I've got residents in the area wondering
Sure.
what's happening with the process.
So it's probably an 8 to 12 month project from start to finish. You know,
Okay.
you don't, it's not $2 million in and out 3 months. You know, if it was, you'd be making so much money that you wouldn't want to do another project for the rest of the year. The initial delays with National Grid, the initial delays with some design flaws. The job started in October of 14. It wasn't supposed to start till May of 15. The contract got signed, we went out there, we demoed the park. We started and came back in May of 15. There were some issues with the power. There were some issues with the architect. Probably got delayed 3 months there, and probably not much work got done that summer. We again started in the fall. This spring, we were waiting for National Grid. National Grid came out. There was a problem with the location of the power coming into the park. That delayed us 3 months because you say, oh, why didn't you just move the location? Well, it wasn't just moving the location, it was moving the location and making sure it didn't interfere with the splash park, making sure it didn't interfere with the walking paths. I was on another job, probably another park job, April, May, and June. Most of you know I've done a lot of jobs in this city. I usually get in and get out in a very timely fashion, a lot faster than expected. This job has drawn out, has been drawn out a long time, I agree. Right now, we're nearing the end. There's crews there every day working. We're probably 4 weeks away from substantial completion. We're waiting for splash park equipment that should be here this week. The park can probably be open by, the middle of November. If the city chooses to open it without the splash park, that's up to them. If they choose to leave it closed till the splash park's complete, I don't know if we're gonna turn the water on this year. That's just being honest. By the time you turn it on, you're gonna blow it out because you have to winterize it, the pipes will crack. But, other than that, it's a large job down there. It's not just in and out. There's a splash park, there's a rubber membrane going around all the play surfaces, there's new play structures, there's tons of plantings, there's lighting, there's sprinkler system, there's signage, trash receptacles. It's not like years ago, they go in and throw a play structure, put wood timbers around the play structure and put playground mulch. It's completely different,
Right.
so.
No, and I appreciate you coming here to explain that.
No
because
problem.
folks at home and folks in this chamber, weren't aware
I
that
understand.
all these things were going on.
Everybody hears it. I hear it. I get every email that you get
So,
forwarded to
yeah.
me from some member of city government.
So now, with what's left to do from this point, I noticed that some of the paths have been poured and
Yeah.
all of that. So are you really waiting on the splash park stuff?
No,
or-
so today we poured more concrete around the
Okay.
walkways. Tomorrow they have the one last play structure to put some stone base down. I'm waiting for the rubber membrane to be sprayed. They're telling me, this week, next week, then we can close out areas. The thing is, you can't back yourself into a corner, so I can't pour every single walkway because I still need access for vehicles, for machines.
You're just a
So I
straight-
have to leave 12 to 14-foot openings
Okay.
to be able to access the site.
Okay, so with the 4 weeks to pretty substantial completion, is that factoring the splash park stuff
No.
coming in? Okay, so that's just
No.
the work you have to do?
That would be, you could put a fence, right, you see where the stone walls are?
Yep.
You could put a fence right around that area, the rest of the park would be open in 4 weeks.
Okay, so just close off that area. So you think within 4 weeks that'll be done?
It-
From the point that the splash park equipment or membrane or whatever it is available, what do you think you're looking at for completion of the job?
3 weeks.
3 weeks from that
Yeah.
point?
We're getting the splash park stuff this week. The equipment's supposed to be delivered this week. But that splash park is not your typical 1 or 2 jets. There's like 40 jets coming in and out. It's not 1, 2, 3. They're going horizontal, vertical, they're going every which way at you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Councilor Napolitano?
Thank you. Through you, good evening.
Good evening.
In the contract that you set this, were there any provisions with rodent control? We've got it, I'm sure you may have heard that
I
we've
heard.
had some complaints from the residents on Florence Street, some on Loop Road, that when the trees were laid out and they were being watered constantly to keep them wet,
Yeah.
it was driving the vermin out of the park into the neighborhoods. Can you tell us, was there any provisions?
I'm not,
in the
I
contract?
don't recall, but truthfully, a lot of that rumblings with rodents could definitely be caused from the gas company. Anytime you put, we're digging a tree pit, we're digging 18 inches. The gas company's up on Nichols and Union and Florence and Luke, and they're digging 3 feet in the ground. Whenever you disturb soil, below 18 inches, that's when you usually get mice and rats. So I don't want to sit here and say, the last time it rained out and you had standing water, did you have rats and mice in the yard? I mean,
Well, the residents in that neighborhood actually did. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, I
what,
just
trying to see.
No, I
if there was
don't know
any-
if that's a safe assumption to say that it came from trees being watered, that's all.
No, it's just that they're looking at the grounds being, the
Mhm.
grounds up there being disrupted, everything being soaked, and they're having problems in their houses they never had before.
No, but as far as the grounds being disrupted, the excavation on that site is minimal. It's no deeper than 18 inches throughout the whole site, whether it be putting concrete walkways in, whether it be planting trees, putting in playgrounds, putting in footings. The excavation is very minimal there. It's more surface work than anything.
Again, just the majority of these complaints came from the Chelsea Street end of
I
Florence,
understand.
not the
No, I
other end.
understand.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilor Della Sola?
Good evening. On
Good
the,
evening.
Councilor Napolitano was just talking about, did we put traps back again? I know last time we were here, the traps were there. Once the excavating was done, we took them away. Did we put them back again?
So we have retained an exterminating company to trap the entire park, and they're in the process of doing that. One of the surveys that they did was a potential food source for rodents was actually the community garden up at the top of the park, and that was identified, and it makes sense, quite frankly. But that is something that is going to be taking place, to have those traps in there throughout the entire park.
Are they there as we speak right now?
Not as we speak, no. No, not as we speak, but they will be coming in the next very near future, because it just executed the contract with the exterminator the other day. So,
if they're coming in a couple of weeks, the park will be done, almost done by then.
but keep in mind that there is a food source up there that will certainly be October, November, that will still be attracting rodents, and that's the community garden, so.
The equipment itself, I don't know, either gentleman can answer this. I know it'll look beautiful when it's done. Are we planning on putting a splash park like this in any other park? I know it'll look great, but is it worth the delay in whatever goes in, getting from a regular splash park to almost this grand thing we're doing? Is it worth the cost to have this 40 jets and all this stuff in a jet, in the parks?
So
Then
it's...
the maintenance of it also is gonna be.
Sure, sure. In terms of that, it's quite a few jets, 18 jets, some on the side and some from the ground and so on. Look, at the end of the day, it's going to be one of the best parks. I firmly believe that, working with the contractor and the architect that was involved in the project. We have a spray park over at Day Park, and
That's
probably...
beautiful.
I thought it came out very nice. And this one, given the magnitude of it, I think is going to be even better. And I'm proud of that. We will have some other, or considering at some other parks, but it's not going to be necessarily a standard, because there is a cost to it, certainly. But there's also a great benefit, certainly for the kids, for the families as well. It really creates a great setting. Maintenance is something that has to be factored in, of course. And with respect to maintenance, working with DPW, we are going to have a contract on board to winterize all of this water equipment. So from the splash, from the sprinklers and so on, because we are making these investments. And the best way to save an investment is to preserve it and take good care of it. We haven't had that before in years past. Quite frankly, when you look at the old inventory of our splash spray parks, some of them, if not most of them, were dysfunctional. And a big part of that is maintenance. And working with DPW, we'll have a maintenance plan on board and expert on board to preserve that stuff for years to come.
Okay. My other question was, on the trees and the plantings and all that stuff, because there's been delays either from the engineering or whatever, National Grid, is there warranty next year when the spring comes and some of these plants or trees are dead?
Yes.
Absolutely. The city, I own the plants through next growing season. The city won't take possession or ownership of that park until substantial completion, which we'll call it November 15th. So I'll own that through November 15th, provided that there's no acts of God, provided the sprinklers are functioning. The city will have a complete warranty on all the plants, 1 year.
And my last question was, do you think that you'll be back there next year? I know you hope not, but once
Again-
this year goes through, where there's something that you didn't do this year that, I don't want the people to think it's all done, it looks beautiful, I can't wait for the spring, and your trucks roll up to do.
No, I don't think that that'll be the case. The initial conversation that we're having now is, are we gonna put the fence along Chelsea Street this year or not?
Correct.
With the sidewalk plows, the way sometimes they steer off path a little bit and they, catch a fence, a section of fence. So that's the big question. Is the city gonna open the park this year? If they are gonna open it, are they gonna open the whole thing? Are they gonna have a grand opening this year? Are we gonna wait till spring? Are we gonna do the sidewalks on the outside of the park this year and the fence, or are we gonna wait till April and do it? Unfortunately, those aren't my decisions, those are the city's decisions.
And on the fence, you're talking on the Ferry Street?
Chelsea Street.
Street side?
Yeah, it's an ornamental iron fence going up. The chain link's getting taken down, black.
Only on Chelsea Street, not,
Only on Chelsea
Correct.
Street, yeah.
Correct. And to that end as well, clearly the splash area, that will, pretty much when it gets installed, will be winterized. Certainly the startup of next spring, contractor will be there to
Yeah,
assist with
I'll-
that process.
I'll own the startup of it and so on and so forth.
But certainly like how we maintain the basketball courts throughout the year, would certainly be looking at, provided again, number one, that the site is safe and secure, would certainly be looking at opening up some of the play areas for the children, for the families to utilize again. But number one priority, that it's safe. We would not open it up if it's unsafe. And as Mr. Antonelli mentioned, the spray area, that can be something that could be easily fenced off, if you will, for the time being, and allow the folks to enjoy the rest of the park.
all right, thank you.
Councilor Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me. Mr. Antonelli, you're not doing the Meadow Park?
Nope.
Okay, that seems to be off track over there. Has that been the same length of time or longer than this park?
I don't know what you mean about...
Length of time as
well,
far as construction?
I don't know what you mean about going on a different track, but in terms of length of time, off the top of my head, we're probably at month 5 for construction at Meadows.
Just month 5?
Correct.
It seems to me that I saw construction last year, but things happening down there.
You may have, there were outside contractors doing different tasks that weren't associated with that park. That park, there was contractors working on the basketball court, just from recollection of driving past it.
No, I know there was work being done last year.
There was work being.
It wasn't just 5
Not
months.
this contractor, though, truthfully.
No, well, maybe not this contract, but some work going on in that park, and I thought that we had amended this piece to add Meadow Park to it, but now that I brought it up, I can see the progress is being made at the Florence Street Park, and, you know, I went there on a regular basis. The trees that were there seemed to be nice to me, the pine trees, but I understand that you have to plant new trees. Are these trees going to be substantial? They're not going to take 20 years to
These are very large,
to
mature
become a
trees.
tree?
Yes.
Not like little
They're not
sticks?
little sticks, no.
Well, that's good to hear. And I'm also happy to hear, it makes sense to me that not to turn the water on in the Todd play pool there until next season, you know, springtime.
You know, if things keep going the way they're going, they are going at a pretty good clip now. It's in my best interest, truthfully, to get everything complete this year. I'd like to be out of there by Thanksgiving. If that's the case, the water will go on and go right off at the city's discretion. I know that if we do have a mild winter, the city, we have already spoken with the city, they would like, you know, sometimes you get a 60-degree day in December or a weekend and the kids want to get on the park, they would like to have access to the whole site. So again, it depends on, you know, the weather, depends if the splash park equipment does come this week, but there is potential that everything is done this year by Thanksgiving. The problem is if we say that, then I'll be up here Thanksgiving again.
And when did this actually start, this Florence Street Park?
This started in October of 14. It wasn't supposed to start until May of 15. We went out there a couple months early just to do the demo of it.
And you ran into problems with National Grid
There was quite a few problems.
and Mass Electric, I'd imagine.
National Grid,
Not Mass. National Grid is the electric company, right?
National Grid is the electric, National Grid's the gas.
They're in charge of telephone poles and everything else.
Well, Verizon and Comcast with the poles, but they're in charge of the electrical poles, sure.
Yeah, we've had some issues with their performance in the city, too. Well, I can see that the progress is being made over there. As you know, there was a meeting held up here.
Listen, I know what you guys are going through. As I mentioned to Councilor Capone, every time you get emailed, I get that email probably a day or two later with the not-so-nice email attached to it. I won't say from who or by who, but
Well, they're neighbors,
I understand. I get it.
you know, but it's nice to know that, that the rat and rodent problem and mice problem has probably been caused by the utility companies rather than the park itself. In this community garden, what are your plans on fixing that community garden, Mr. Sousa?
So in the next few days, actually, we're going to have a meeting with some of the folks from the community garden, just to talk about general site maintenance and so on. You know, whenever there's potential food source, it does attract rodents, and so it's important to have it, just like a home composting, same thing. Important to have
Is
it
it that
maintained.
big of a
covered.
garden? I mean, I was up there a
No,
couple of years ago. It was just a couple of small.
it's not very big. There's probably 8 or 9 beds there, but very well taken care of in terms of varieties and so on. But it is an attraction, food source, if you will, to rodents. Just same, no difference in a backyard garden. And when you have a compost, it's important to have it covered. No different than if you had one in your backyard as well.
And who actually runs that community garden? I know it's the food.
It's our friends over at the community growers, and they've done a tremendous job. And you know, they have a community garden down on Tremont Street, which looks fabulous. also on the bike path, by the way.
I've seen it, it's very nice.
So, and this is, look, this is a learning process for all of us.
Right, yeah.
And we want to encourage them, support them. And same token, too, there's some logistics that we just work out. And that's one of them that we're going to be talking about.
My issue is, there's construction on the Parkway. It could have upset some of these nests, I guess you call them, rodent nests, with the new hotel and so forth. But there's been a lot. The old Shade and Blind Company, just been,
There's a lot of construction.
there's so much
Sure.
going on that I'd like to know the source of, because after I saw that meeting, there was quite a few people up here, and these people I've known for years, and they're not complainers, really. They're good, they live in the neighborhood. But it seems to me that, as you said, it's the utility companies that may have to do some baiting and so forth as they go along and doing work, because they're everywhere now.
And also, just sticking to parks moving forward, when Sacramone Park goes out to construction, we're going to do some prep work at the site for rodent control. We're looking to retain exterminator for that, and likewise with the other parks as well, just as an abundance of caution. Granted, there is a lot of other activity in the city, but if there's anything we can do on our part to try to minimize or try to be a step ahead, we will take that
Well,
option.
these utility companies come before this council on a regular basis asking for permits to do this, and that.
Mhm.
And one of the requirements that I'm going to ask them to do is to bait wherever they dig.
I
You know,
would
even if
highly
it's for
recommend
2
that.
days, because,
Yes.
if that's the case where they're coming out of the tunnels and so forth, I'd like to get that addressed. The question I have, Mr. Sousa, on this Meadow Park, could you give me all the information you have on that? As a councilman at large, I represent the entire city, not just Ward 1, where I actually live. I want all the information as to when that job actually started.
Sure.
'Cause, I don't have I'm not having senior moments here. There was big work being done there over the last year and a half. Not just the last 4 months. I don't know how
Well,
long you've been employed by the city.
With
Now,
all,
wait a second.
Go right ahead,
You
Counsel.
said 4 months. That's what you just said tonight.
I said 5, but that's,
5 months.
yes.
There's been a lot of work going on there for the last year and a half. Because people have asked me to live in that neighborhood, when is it going to be completed? It says just as long as this project, if you look at the date that they put
Sure.
shovels down there, okay?
Counselor,
give me the
I'd be glad to get
information.
you that info.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
If there are no further questions, gentlemen, you are excused. Thank you very, very much for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
Councilor Capone.
To move to refer this back to sponsor.
Motion to refer back to sponsor. Do I have a second, please? Second. Okay, all in favor of referring back to the sponsor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You have referred back to sponsor.
Mr. Chairman, I have a sign-in sheet, and the petitions that just left, because it's a new license in regards to number 4. So if we can waive the reading, take item 4 off the calendar. But I just want the board to know that the petition's left, because this would obviously go to the Community and Business Development, so.
Motion made and second to take item 4 from the calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. The clerk will read item number 4, please.
Item number 4, an order sponsored by Council John F. Hanlon is president, a petition for a combination mechanical repair and auto body repair license for Mr. Diego Benica, DBA BNK Auto Body Incorporated, 69 Norman Street, Unit 21A.
Okay. But
Refer
this is
to the,
a new license that should be referred to committee, unless
Yes.
somebody wants to discuss it.
Well, at this point, I had said to the petitions, because they were waiting out there, that it would be referred to committee, so, because it's a new license.
Okay.
So the motion would be to refer it to the Business and Community Development and invite the petitioner.
Second.
Motion made and second to refer to Business and Community Development and to invite the petitioners. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have referred to the Committee on Business. Okay. Clerk, read item 1.
Item number 1 is an order sponsored by Council John F. Hanlon is president to appoint Brian Fuccarello to the Election
You want to do
Commission
another one?
for a 3-year term expiring October 2019.
Okay. Were you interested in another one? We'll do this one, get back to you first. Okay.
Go.
On item number 1. Yes,
Suspend-
Councilor
Suspend
Capone.
Rule 20?
Motion made and second.
Mayoral appointments.
Second, please. Second, anyone? Motion made and second to suspend Rule 20. All in favor? All opposed, you have suspended Rule 20.
Favorable action.
Motion second for favorable action. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky. Yes. Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
9 yeas, 0 nays, you grant the appointment. Councilor Simonelli.
I'd like to suspend the rules and take number 13 off of the agenda.
Motion made and second to take item 13 from the calendar. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, item 13 is before us. Clerk will please read item 13.
Item number 13 is a resolution sponsored by Counsel Stephen Simonelli to respectfully request Mayor update council next meeting on his talks with Uber.
Councilor Simonelli.
Is the mayor present tonight? Is the mayor present tonight?
The mayor, I don't believe that, what? Hold on. Someone from the mayor's office is present.
Sure. Can we have him come up?
Okay, with the representative from the mayor's office, please come forward and identify himself.
Good evening, Kevin O'Donnell, Chief of Staff.
Councilor Simonelli.
So, thanks, Mr. O'Donnell. Couple questions. One, we know that you recently met with representatives from Uber. Just wondering if you can give us a general update of things that you've learned from Uber, and what is the mayor's office doing to ensure that Uber is safe for the people of Everett who use it?
Yeah, we did meet with General Manager Chris Taylor on September 6th, and then the mayor subsequently met with the State Department of Public Utility Commissioners, along with Representative McGonigal. And under the legislation passed last summer, the DPU is the agency that would be in charge of regulating Uber. They told us they will do them as soon as they can. The DPU will also hold public hearings on the regulations to gather input. The hearings will be the next opportunity to urge the DPU to set high standards to protect public safety, including detailed, frequent background checks of drivers. Unfortunately, right now, the law does not allow the cities to regulate Uber at a local level. They take it, or they supersede us at this point, but we all are working hand in hand to try and regulate. We had very frank discussions with them as, what we would like to see and what expectations would be in terms of background checks.
So, along the lines of, as you mentioned, the cities is not allowed to impose any restrictions on Uber. My understanding is that the city's licensing commission controls the taxi regulations.
No.
Is there any way that the commission could ease any restrictions on taxis to keep them up to pace with Uber? As far as, not from a public safety perspective, but more of a business perspective.
Without viewing the statutes in front of me in the ordinance, I'd be hesitant to answer that to completion. I'd have to do some research on that, which I gladly will. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so, next question regarding Uber is, do you believe that there needs to be any more signage on their vehicles to make people aware that they are part of a ride-sharing network? And also the police is aware that they're part of a ride-sharing network?
That's the first time that question has been posed. I never really have given it much thought. I just do know that as part of the service, the passengers do get notified with a picture and a license plate number of the Uber vehicle, who's going to come and pick them up. So.
Okay. Okay. What can be done at the state legislature to make sure that there's one standard that is for both Uber and the taxi industry?
I think that's a concern that could be voiced at the public hearings and input in contacting the state officials that represent or would be involved in this process.
Also, in late August, as you're aware, 2 Uber drivers in Everett were charged with sex-related offenses in Everett. And state background checks, as you mentioned, do not go into effect until next year. And it also does not include fingerprinting, as we understand. So what can be done to make sure that the people of Everett are safe in the interim?
I mean, just everything that's already being done now. I commend the police department on making 2 very rapid arrests in the situations, but again, it's something that we don't have much control as a community, and it is something that's happening nationwide. But, we do caution people, and I think maybe, we continue with public service announcements and informational sessions. I think that would be helpful, but.
And then the last question, in the state statute, it mentions that there's biannual background checks for each driver. What is the feedback loop from Uber or Lyft to the city of Everett to let them know that a driver has been suspended or there's been an offense against a driver, so that Everett can do our own monitoring of these drivers to make sure that they're not on the road?
In terms of it, I believe the statute would take them off the road if something did pop up on that.
Pull their-
Yeah. Mhm.
Now you know I should get it.
That's all for us, if there's any other questions.
Thank you very much. Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you. I applaud Councilor Simonelli because this is a very important issue and a public safety matter for across the city. Mr. O'Donnell, you guys met at recent weeks with the director of Uber, is that correct? Who else was at that meeting?
It was correct. The mayor, myself, and Catherine Rollins.
Okay, with the state officials, Representative McGonigal, Senator DiDomenico.
They met separately the following day with representatives from DPU, Department of Public Utilities.
Okay. I could be wrong, but I think that one of the stipulations under the new guidelines is that there will be fingerprints for all drivers going forward.
I certainly hope so.
I think that was one of the amendment items that passed the Senate for the new legislation, the new regulations that go into effect next year, hopefully so.
Yeah.
But I do believe that is the case. But I wanted to applaud Councilor Simonelli for bringing this forward because it's an important issue for our community. Thank you.
Oh, it's of paramount importance, that issue.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, excuse the Chief of Staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Simonelli?
Okay. Counselor's not satisfied, and he would actually like the mayor himself here to speak on this subject. Okay, and he'd like to put it into committee.
Put it in committee? Is that what he says?
Public safety, yes.
What committee?
What's that? Public. Public service? Public safety.
Public service?
Yeah. We'd like to invite the mayor, the chief of police, and the license commission, the city solicitor, all to come before us with solutions to this very serious matter.
Motion made to refer it to the public service and invite the mayor, chief of staff, et cetera, chief of police, and other names. Councilor Capone.
On that motion, the only thing that I would ask of the sponsor is if we delete out anything with licensing issues, because that's done by the council. We take care of the taxis and all that, so they wouldn't have anything to do with that.
Okay, all right. Councilor Della Sola.
I'd like to make a motion to have Senator Joe McGonigal and Senator, huh? Oh, okay, and Sally Domenico also? Just to get the information for the state, if there's any questions that we cannot answer.
Okay, also to invite state representative and state senator. Any further discussion? On the motion then, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? You have so moved, referred to the Committee on Public Service with those invited. Okay. All right. Clerk will read item number 5 from the calendar, from the agenda.
Item number 5 is an order sponsored by Council John F. Handler, President, petition to file a request for leave to withdraw without prejudice on Thursday, October 6, 2016, with Assistant City Clerk, and his request for permission to operate a slaughterhouse DBA Saba Live Poultry at 1934 Revere Beach Parkway. The matter before the council right now is the order itself. It would be a separate motion to allow the leave to withdraw.
Okay,
On the order itself, we vote on the order itself,
Yes, you may.
Yes.
and then we can open
Wait a
up.
minute. Councilor McLaughlin first.
I would like to ask if the city clerk can read the letter that has been presented to us this evening, put it in our mailboxes.
Could you read that letter, please? Do you have it?
I have it.
We have
Do
it.
you? Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Oh, thank you, Counsel.
We got it, Rose.
It's from the Law Offices of Attorney Alfred Palpares Jr., addressed to the city clerk and city council regarding Saba Poultry. Dear Sir and Madam, please be advised that Saba Poultry withdraws its application for a slaughterhouse license, even though Saba feels that their operation would be no detriment to the city and would serve its customers the highest product available. The probable prolonged process and lawsuit and hostility of the community dictates that Saba Poultry look for a more business-friendly community in which to expand. Very truly yours. And it's signed by Representative Saba Poultry and Attorney Alfred Palpares Jr.
Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion that we don't accept that letter of withdrawal.
You cannot
Withdraw?
make a, the motion
Can't
must
make
be,
that motion.
motion must be for favorable action.
Favorable action.
Make a motion for favorable action.
Motion to accept the letter.
Okay, I apologize. Make a motion, accept the letter.
Okay.
Vote favorable action on the unfavorable
Second.
Favorable action.
committee.
That's all.
Okay. Second, anyone?
Second.
Motion made and second to accept the letter requesting a petition to withdraw without prejudice. What was the motion?
The motion was favorable action on the order.
No, it was on the letter.
To accept the
Was
communication.
it on the letter, sir, Counselor?
Just to accept the communication.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right.
So the motion was to accept the communication, whatever you want to call it.
All in favor?
Okay.
On the letter?
All in favor
So
of
we're accepting the
accepting the motion, signify,
for a favor.
accepting the communication,
No,
That's
no.
all.
signify by saying aye.
Right.
Correct.
Just accepting the communication.
Right.
Yeah, so, all in favor?
We-
Aye.
Yes.
2 ayes. All opposed?
Okay.
All opposed?
No, that was just to accept the letter.
No, you accepted the
Now we're
communication.
voting to accept the order.
Period.
All right, the communications is accepted. Okay, so, Counselor,
The motion
And then
now
I'll
is for
make a
favorable
motion for favorable action on the unfavorable recommendation of the committee.
No.
on what?
The
On
only
our
motion
committee
that can
report.
be made is favorable action, period. And then you
Favorable
vote no
action,
if you're
and then you
against
vote
it.
no.
Okay, I apologize.
That's all right.
I apologize on that. You gentlemen are correct.
Now, the motion for favorable
On the
action,
petition.
on
On the
the
petition.
petition. The motion is for favorable action on the petition. Okay? Hold on for a second.
No, we're going to take a vote.
We're not talking about the letter, right?
No, the letter's over.
Okay, we are talking about the petition, all right? That was the petition to operate a slaughterhouse. I have a motion for favorable
No.
action. I'd like to speak I have a motion for, there was a motion for second?
Second.
Yes.
You can't say you made a motion. Second, anybody? Favorable action?
Second.
Second, we have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Matusky. I'm sorry, Councilor Napolitano.
All right, I mean, I'm all in favor of voting against this order, you know, and we've heard testimony from the petitioners, you know, they presented themselves with presenting a higher standard, but we, by virtue of the investigation of my members on this committee, through this committee of a whole, you know, it was identified that they've had a number of complaints, they've had issues. So they're not presenting as clean, as squeaky, and high standard a product as they would like to profess us. And when they tell us that a violation is not a big thing, I take offense in that because the letter of the law is there, and if they've been identified as in violation of conditions that they've agreed to maintain, then it is important. Couple that with the damage that we're now aware of was done to the building there, you know, this is not a business that I think we need in this community. You know, had they taken the proper steps, had their position been a little more favorable as far as how we would expect them to conduct business, I'd feel a little more comfortable about this, but absolutely not in this situation. Not only have there's been their operation called into question in other communities, but you know, through a incorrect engineer report, we found out that additional damage has been done to the building. So I would ask my colleagues not to accept their petition to withdraw, primarily because that allows them to come back 6 months from now. We vote this down, they're not able to come back for 2 years. And I think that if their desire is to go elsewhere, then 2 years shouldn't matter to them either way, as they've stated in their letter. So I would encourage my colleagues to vote unfavorable action, or vote no for favorable action on this order. Thank you.
Counsel Matusky.
Thank you, Mr. President. I received a phone call from Attorney Faris. We had the meeting on last Monday. He called me on Tuesday evening to tell me that the petitioners have decided to seek another location out of Everett, not in Everett. So, with that being said, Attorney Faris is one of the leading attorneys in this community and state, and his success rate is very high representing people. And I was so pleased that he did make that personal call to me. And this company understands now that the people of Everett don't want this type of slaughterhouse in the city. And I think that they got the message. The chamber was full. Everybody had an opportunity. I would have voted against it as soon as it came before us. It gave the rest of the members a chance to digest the whole situation. And that being said, Everett is a animal-friendly community. The state is an animal-friendly. It's the #1 state in the country for animal safety concerns and so forth. So this was a whole debacle that I never knew that the city council voted on slaughterhouses, okay? I am going to ask you, Mr. President, at some point, if I have to put it on the calendar, I will. There seems to be things coming up on this, on the council calendar that I have no knowledge of, and I've only been up here for 30-something years. But I know we have a different system, and it's also like this noise at late night. This is the first time we've ever dealt with that issue that I know of. There's certain things that are coming up now that maybe we should be aware of. Slaughterhouses, 24-hour noise complaint things. Rather than getting side-blinded and then having big discussions, none of us really know. Maybe we did vote on this at some point. But anyway, there's probably other things that are going to come up that we don't know that we're voting on. And the city clerk is the first offense to the whole thing. And maybe he could look into things that we'll be voting on that I never knew about. Maybe with the new casino coming in, there's some things that we have to know about too. So, rather than be side-blinded by issues like this, and it's no reflection on the city clerk or his office. But the man came up here and said he was in every office in the city, the building department, the zoning department, this department. He was shuffled around, so he says. I don't think he was truthfully forthcoming, but that's beside the point. But I'm glad that the people of Everett did come up to this meeting and show their concerns. I knew that it would never fly. It was never going to fly. And I'm glad that Mr. Faris took his client and filed this. I don't see any problem withdrawing without prejudice. This guy is not coming back to the city. This is a dead issue, and I don't think any slaughterhouse is ever going to come in the city. Now, if a butcher shop wanted to open Everett Square, a normal butcher shop, McKinnon's is a butcher shop. They cut meat there. Maplewood Square in Malden, they have a butcher shop that's been there for 100 years. Those are things that people... Yeah, I don't want to bore you, Counselor, but I'm not going to accept, I'm going to vote to accept this Attorney Faris's letter. He's an honorable attorney. He's no stranger to me, of this community, and there's no reason not to accept. I've never heard of not accepting a withdrawal. He's not coming into Everett. So I say we accept this letter and vote no on the petition. Thank you.
But that was the motion. Okay, you want to allow them to withdraw?
That's your motion.
That's the motion. Do I have a second on the motion to allow the petitioner to withdraw? Yes, Counselor.
I thought I just made a motion not to accept the letter to withdraw, and it was seconded by Councilor
That's on the
Delasola.
order.
We just said accept the communication. We accepted,
Okay.
no, so now he's making a motion to allow the petitioner to withdraw.
No.
Do we have a
We
second?
have a
on-
motion on the table on the order
A motion is
itself,
on the table
right?
to allow the petitioner to withdraw. Is there a second on the motion? There's no second on the motion.
Mr. President.
Yes. Councilor DePiero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Didn't we already accept, and now we're voting for Councilor McLaughlin's motion?
We just accepted a communication.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Now there's a motion on the floor to allow the petitioner to withdraw.
There is no
That's-
motion, no second.
No, I have no second.
The motion is for favorable action.
Right? Now, okay, so we did have a motion earlier for favorable action.
No second.
We do have a second.
Yes, we had a second. Any further discussion on the motion for favorable action? Hearing none. Clerk will please call the roll.
Counsel Capone.
No.
Counsel Delasola.
Not present.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yeah, no.
Counsel DePiero.
No.
Counsel Matusky.
No.
Counsel McLaughlin.
No.
Counsel Napolitano.
No.
Counsel Simonelli.
No.
Counsel Hanlon.
No. 8 yeas.
0 yeas, 8 nays, Mr.
0 yeas, 8
President.
nays, the motion has failed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to file for reconsideration on item number 5.
Second.
Motion made second for reconsideration on item number 5. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk will please call the roll.
Counsel Capone.
No.
Counsel DeFlorio.
No.
Counsel DePiero.
No.
Counsel Matusky. Reconsideration.
Reconsideration.
Counsel McLaughlin.
No.
Counsel Napolitano.
No.
Counsel Simonelli.
No.
Counsel Hanlon.
No.
0 yeas, 8 nays.
Reconsideration has failed. Clerk will please read item number 6 on the agenda.
Item number 6, an ordinance sponsored by Counsel Fred Capone, an ordinance for overnight construction work with a favorable recommendation from the Committee on Legislative Affairs.
Councilor Capone.
Accept the committee report, favorable action?
Motion made and seconded to accept the committee report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Ayes have it. The committee report has been accepted. Councilor Capone.
Favorable action?
Motion made and seconded for favorable action. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk will please call the roll for enrollment.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky. Yes. Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays, Mr.
8 yeas, 0 nays. You have enrolled the ordinance. Clerk will read item number 7, please.
Item number 7 is resolution regarding lighting and cameras on the bike path.
Councilor Delasola.
Mr.
Councilor McLaughlin, I'm sorry.
No
Councilor
problem.
McLaughlin.
Mr. President, on the motion, can I ask Mr. Souza to appear before us? If you would
Mr.
so
Souza,
kindly
if you would,
do so.
please. And sign it.
Good evening, Tony Sousa, Director of Planning and Development.
Mr. Souza, good evening.
Good evening.
Great to see you this evening, as always. Could you give us an update on where we stand with this item? I know we've talked about this here at the meetings and privately in discussion.
Yes.
And I know that census is that everybody is on the same page that this needs to happen sooner than later. And we are committed to making this happen. So if you could just give us a brief.
Sure. So as the council knows, back in July, we secured funding in the CIP for the installation of lighting, security cameras, and other site amenities along the bike path. Right now, we're in the process of retaining an engineer to do the design work for the lighting and security cameras. Where we are at the stage right now is we're working on executing a contract for the engineering services for the bike path. And what we're looking at for a timeline is it will have to go out to bid for the electrical work. We are in the month of October now. We're looking sometime late November, December, and would look to get some of the work started this year, but if need be, we're going to be looking in the spring as well. But first priority is to get the lighting and security cameras in place and the other amenities which also contribute to the sense of safety and security. Other amenities such as bollards and certainly seating and additional landscaping and opening up of clearing of certain areas, brush that's kind of taken control, doing some of that in the spring. So that's where we are right now in the process, and be happy to answer any other questions on that.
I really don't have any. I appreciate the due diligence and the hard work that you put forward on this item, understanding the sensitive issue for my neighborhood. And the community as a whole that enjoys using that bike path as a walking area. And you really are limited to when you can use it. So either not early morning, late night. So
Yes.
having those amenities in place is really going to enhance that whole area. And we have a new parcel of land right there that's coming on board finally.
Correct.
That's going to, bring in new business and new development into that immediate area. So that whole entire area is really being lifted up, and it's really becoming alive again, and it's moving in the right direction. So I want to thank you and your office for that, and I look forward to having future updates from you throughout the coming months on this matter. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilor Delasola, you want to read that?
Good evening. On the lighting, do you know is it only the Everett, from Everett's border to Malden? Is Malden going to do the same thing on their property?
So I can't speak for the city of Malden, but in terms of the scope of work, it would just be within our boundary. The portion of the bike path is less than a mile, but certainly the amenities would benefit all users. They use the bike path. Ours is a little unique in certain areas, in my opinion, but certainly these improvements will be solely within our city limits. Certainly would, moving forward, I'd sort of work with our partners in Malden and see if they have anything in the works as well, to add additional security via security cameras, let's say call boxes, lighting, things of that nature as well.
I think we're the only people on the path with overhead bridges. I'm just thinking down the path in my mind. Is Everett.
Yes, I believe so. I think you're right.
Okay, and on the seating, I know you talk of benches and stuff like that.
Yes.
Just kind of put those in the open, let's call it. So
Oh,
that's-
absolutely.
It's going to be a hangout. Once you put a bench in a spot, it's going to be a hangout.
Absolutely.
So just kind of like the dog park is, or 7 Acre Park that'd be a good spot there, but
I agree.
in the confined areas, kind of, you know yourself, just kind of limit the benching on that area.
I agree. And we will be working also with the police department. They have they know the stuff very, very well in terms of
Exactly.
vulnerable areas and so on. I know you stepped away, but we are in the process of finalize a contract to have an engineer on board to do the engineering work.
Okay.
There's actually a good amount of work, believe it or not. I was somewhat surprised, but there is indeed some site stuff we have to take care of, including from the old tracks, but even though that's covered, the gas line
Yeah.
that goes through the area. So there's actually a little bit of work involved with it.
Okay, thank you. All set.
Councilor Simonelli?
Yes.
We're all set. Our question has been answered.
Oh, okay. Any further discussion? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr.
There's no
Souza.
further discussion. Could we please take item number 11?
Wait.
where Mr.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. On item number 7, Councilor McLaughlin. Anybody that wants to make a motion? Item number 7, refer it back to sponsor.
Make a motion that we refer this back to sponsor, and I'll work with Mr. Souza going forward for an update in the future months to come.
Thank you much. Do I have a second, please? Second. All in favor of referring back to sponsor? All opposed?
Everything else.
We have referred back to sponsor. Clerk will read item number 8 on the agenda.
11.
Thank you, Mr. Oh, you're going to stay. No, I'm sorry. What number?
Mr. Chairman, number 11, where Mr. Souza's already here.
Okay, second, please. Motion made and second to take item number 11 from the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item is 11. Clerk will please item read.
Item number 11, resolution sponsored by Council Rosa DeFlorio, resolution regarding first-time home buyers program in the city of Everett.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Souza. So, Mr. Souza, do we have a program that a first-time home buyer in the city, where the property is going up so high in the city and where the residency has set in for some people that have to stay here because they haven't been here for 7 years? and we would like to keep them here. So do we have anything in effect right now for first-time home buyer in the city of Everett?
We do. We currently have a program in place in conjunction with other communities in the area. The first-time homebuyer program, it's a program that there are different variations of it throughout the state, but we do have a program in place, and you're absolutely correct. I can tell you that there has been more and more interest in the program, and even today we had 2 folks come in from Everett looking to get some more information about the program. The program itself, and be happy to provide after this meeting a detail of this, and it may even a copy of the application as well. The program itself provides up to $7,500 to income-eligible applicants for the purchase of a single-family property, townhouse, or condo. It is to assist with the down payment of a home. There is a process that is involved, and again, it is based on income. But there's also home buyer counseling as well. That's an important component of this process. That's a requirement. Those courses are offered in Medford and Chelsea, and we're looking at trying to see if we get a course here as well. They're also offered online and in different languages as well. The courses itself, they talk about mortgage financing, home inspection, the working on credit scores, some finance education, things of that nature. It's an extensive course. It is, some programs are 2 or 3 days, 2-3 hours, offered in the evenings or on the weekends. I also made mention there is an online option as well. The loan itself, that $7,500, it is forgiven after 5 years, and 0% interest. There's no monthly payments, but it's for a 5-year term, and in essence, provided that one of the big requirements is that it has to be your primary residence, the home or the condo or the townhouse that you choose to be in. It is forgiven after 5 years, each year 20% reduction, and ultimately with the program, they just increased, since I've been working for the city, I think it was last year, maybe a year or 2 years ago, they increased that amount, so that up to $7,500. Prior to that, I think was maybe $6,500 or so. It is one of the programs that we offer, the first-time homebuyer program. And as you are aware, we also have, for those people that do live in their home and looking to do some rehab to make their homes compliant with building code, we also have the housing rehab program as well. Those are, between the housing rehab program and the first-time homebuyer program, those are federally funded, and we are subject to the flows of federal funds. But I think the program definitely works, and we are always looking for ways to do more outreach. With that in mind, and just so everyone is aware, we are working on putting together a comprehensive type of workshop later this fall for not only for those folks looking for first-time home counseling in that sense, but also really more of an educational, general, very broad housing rehab, first-time home buyer, the mortgage process, what the real estate process is, and Marzi in my office and I were looking at trying to put a program together, free program. We'll probably do it here in the Kavarian room later this fall, and be happy to let everyone know, and we will publicize that. And if successful, which I definitely think it will be, continue that also in the future. The mayor's been very, very supportive, and likewise, Councilor, yourself and others, of having these types of programs in place. And I think it's certainly healthy and it's very timely. So thank you.
Well, we'd like to keep the young folks in the city, but make it also affordable for them, because the houses have gone up so high in the city, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. But now, I heard you say that first-time home buyers is only a single family, a townhouse, and a condo, so they're not eligible for a two-family.
No, it's not eligible for a two-family, and I would say the rationale, eventually say the rationale on that is because a two-family would be considered one of the products, one of the units you'd be deriving income from.
Now, as far as a first-time home buyer, you said they would get 7,500 towards their down payment? Is that?
Yes,
did I
it's
understand that
for
correctly?
down payment assistance or for the, closing costs. And it is sometimes that, actually, that can have a tremendous benefit for
Well,
someone when
I'm
you're trying
thinking of the
to
average single
piece
family
it all
home, and
together.
That's 400,000, you have to come up with 20%, that's $80,000, so I don't know how affordable that is for first-time home buyers.
And certainly though, but with being component, one piece of multiple pieces, it helps. It certainly helps. So I know it's not the cure, but it's definitely a useful tool.
Okay, so if you have any information, I would gladly take it after.
Yes.
After the meeting, only because I've had so many questions in regards to this, and I'll refer them to your office anyways. But
Absolutely.
I'd like to have a little more knowledge to it.
Absolutely, and I didn't prepare packets for this meeting, but I'll be happy to distribute in everyone's mailbox, a copy of the application and a memo. Have them, okay.
Thank you.
They're all on your tablets.
Oh, okay.
It's all on your tablet. Everybody has one. I'll show you how
Great.
to get to it.
If I could get through my tablet, I would see it.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
It's
locked
all
out.
there. The info's
I'm locked
there.
out.
Any,
I don't have any further questions.
further
I don't know if
questions?
my colleagues have any questions. If not,
no, any further
excuse the
questions?
customer thanks, and thank you very much.
Great.
Appreciate
Thank you.
your time.
Thank you.
If there's no objections from the chair, may I ask a question? Peter, did you have a question?
Okay.
Pat?
Thank you, through the chair. Now, is this information available on the city website?
It is, or I should say it was, in fairness. We're in the process of updating some of the applications on there on DPD, Department of Planning and Development's page. I will have the most current information up there within the next 2 days, I
Right,
can assure
and
you.
could we, and when that's done, could you work in coordination with ECTV to have it listed there? I mean, I think this is a great
Absolutely.
program. I've worked with similar programs when I was in the banking world, and the thing is that, it's hard enough for people today to scrape money, especially in the economy, to be able to purchase a house, especially where the values are increasing, making it that much harder to chase that figure. But a program that allows them to be able to, bring up their credit scores, be able to know what they need to do, have an awareness of what's involved with being a homeowner, I think it's a great idea, great program. And I just want to make sure that we're utilizing all the resources we have in the city, ECTV, the city website, to make sure that our residents can access that information.
Sure, point well taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no objections, okay. Mr. Souza, on new homes, as a matter of fact, on anybody that buys a house, usually what they come in, they'll put in, new doors, new insulation, new roof, new whatever it is to do that. How would that kind of new construction be affected by the new stretch code that the city has adopted?
Mr. President, actually, the question itself, relative to the stretch code, I would not be the best person to answer that. I would defer to a Director of Inspectional Services who works with that every single day. But as you do know, we have adopted the stretch code as part of the Green Communities agreement. I believe it was a year or two ago. And as I was informed, the stretch code, it parallels what the state building code is or is to be. But in the particulars of it, respectfully, I'd have to defer to our building director, who works on that every day.
Okay, thank you, anyway, okay. Excuse us, customer thanks.
Excuse.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Mr. Souza.
Make a
On-
motion to refer it back to sponsor.
Motion made and seconded to refer item number 11 back to the sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So it moved, referred back to sponsor. Clerk will read
Suspend the
item
rules
8.
and please take items number 14.
Motion made, second, anyone? Second to take item number 14? 14 from the agenda, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, so moved. Item 14 is before you. Item 14 will please be read by...
On number
Mr. Blair.
14 is an order sponsored by Council John Hanlon as president, an order setting longevity for the office of mayor.
Favorable action on the order.
Motion made and second, favorable action. Any further discussion on the appointment? Is this for ordainment?
I'm sorry, I mistakenly said in order, in ordinance.
In ordinance, yes,
Setting
yeah.
longevity for the...
Okay. Here for ordainment, any further? Council...
Second reading.
Council McLaughlin,
This
yes.
is on ordainment.
Okay. Clerk will please call the roll for ordainment.
Council Capone.
No.
Council Della Sola.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio.
Yes.
Council DePiero.
Yes.
Council Matusky.
Yes.
Council McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano?
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli?
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 nay, Mr. President.
8 yeas, 1 nay, you have ordained the ordinance.
File for reconsideration, please,
What number?
on item number 14.
What do you want to do?
File for reconsideration.
Reconsideration on this.
Okay, and we need a second, though. Second. Okay, motion made and second for reconsideration, item number 14. If there's no further discussion, clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Capone?
Yes.
Counsel Delasola?
No.
Counsel DeFlorio?
No.
Counsel DePiero? No. Counsel Matusky? No. Counsel McLaughlin?
No.
Counsel Napolitano?
No.
Counsel Simonelli?
No.
Counsel Hanlon?
No.
1 yea, 8 nays, Mr. President.
1 yea, 8 nays, reconsideration has failed. Now the clerk will please read item number 8.
Item number 8 is an order sponsored by Counsel John F. Handler as president, amending the zoning ordinance to allow certain temporary parking facilities. This is on ordainment after a planning board recommendation for favorable action.
Favorable action on the order.
Motion made and seconded
Ordinance.
with favorable action on the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll for ordainment.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Delasola. Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays,
8 yeas,
Mr.
0 nays, you
President.
have ordained. Clerk will read item number 9 from the agenda.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if we could we take items 9 and 17 collectively?
9 and what other?
17.
9 and 17. Motion to take 9 and 17 collectively.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 9 and 17. Clerk will read item 9 first.
If I may, could you include item number 12 on that, per request of the sponsor, one of the sponsors?
All in favor, taking item 12 with that also? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 9, 12, and
17.
17.
Yeah, item number 9, resolution sponsored by Councilor John Lee McKinnon, resolution regarding the hiring of full-time clinician for the city of Everett. Number 12 is resolution by Councilors DeFlorio and McKinnon, a resolution regarding information on the budget, cherry, and tax effects of charter schools. And item number 17, resolution sponsored by Councilor John Leo McKinnon, police and fire departments furnish names of all inline of duty deaths for purpose of updating all public safety plaques and to additional memorial site at 7 Acre Park.
All
Lay over to the
resolutions,
next
count-
meeting, please.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded to refer this to our next meeting of items 9,
12.
12, and 17. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, so moved. 9, 12, and 17. Clerk will read item number 9, please.
10.
10, sorry, 10.
Item number 10, resolution sponsored by Councilor Michael J. McLaughlin, resolution regarding residential preference and hiring at the Wynn Boston Harbor Casino.
Counsel McLaughlin?
Mr. President, through you to City Clerk, Mr. Matarazzo, do we have any communication from Mr. Doherty from?
No, there is no communication, but in deference to Mr. Doherty, as you know, I was out all last
Correct.
week, ill, and so he did not receive an invite to this one. to
Okay,
this
but
particular
he
meeting.
has received an invite in the past because this has been before
Yes,
us
he
for the
has,
past month.
but not to this one.
We are currently filled around 300 construction jobs on the wind site. We're at 5% of Everett preference. There's 10 people working on the site that are from Everett out of 300 jobs. If we continue to go down this slippery slope, it's not going to be good results at the end of the day. We need to figure out how to resolve this issue. I'm going to lay this matter over to on the calendar for 1 month and invite up Mr. Tolman, the president of the AFL-CIO, and the mayor to the first meeting in November to discuss this matter, along with Mr. Doherty's invitation again.
Okay, did you want any from Wynn? Anyone from Wynn?
Sure, I'll invite up a representative from Wynn Resorts,
Okay.
Mr.
So, the union rep and the representative from Wynn, and the third one was? The mayor, okay. All right, Michael? Okay. Any further discussion? His second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. You have, you've passed it, resolution to be laid on the table for 1 month, inviting the 3 members mentioned. 16, I think.
Item number 16 is an ordinance sponsored by Council John F. Handler, President. An ordinance clarifying vacant and foreclosed registration ordinance. This is on ordainment.
Right. Motion made and seconded for favorable action. Any further discussion on the motion? Clerk will call the roll. For
Counsel
ordainment.
Capone. Yes. Counsel Delasola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky. Yes. Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays,
9
Mr.
yeas, 0
President.
nays. You have ordained.
Yes.
Clerk will read item 18.
Item number 18 is a resolution sponsored by Councilor Stephen Simonelli. Respectfully request Chief Mazie appear at the next meeting to discuss new ways to update public on detours in the city.
Councilor Simonelli.
Yeah, I'd like to refer this to the next meeting on October 24th, and we'd like to invite Chief Mazie to appear and to update us with ways to improve public communication on any detours that may be happening in the city.
Motion made and second to refer to the chief of police to appear at the next meeting with details on public safety roads that have been detoured. All in favor? All opposed? You have referred to the chief of police. Item number 19.
Item number 19, order sponsored by Councilor John F. Handler, President, order calling for the general election.
Motion made and second for favorable action. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk will please call the roll.
Councilor Capone. Yes. Councilor Richard Delasola.
Yes.
I don't know why I said your whole name.
That's okay, buddy.
Councilor DeFlorio.
You call worse.
Councilor DePiero.
Yes.
Councilor Matusky. Yes. Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Councilor Napolitano. Yes. Councilor Simonelli.
Yes.
Councilor Hanlon.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays,
9
Mr.
yeas,
President.
0 nays. You pass the order. Clerk will read item 20.
Item number 20 is an order calling for the setting up at the polls for the 11/8 general elections.
Second?
Motion made and second for favorable action. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Capone. Yes. Councilor Delasola.
Yes.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Yes.
Councilor DePiero.
Yes.
Councilor Matusky. Yes. Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Councilor Napolitano.
Yes.
Councilor Simonelli.
Yes.
Councilor Hanlon.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Clerk will read item 21.
Item number 21 is an order sponsored by Councilor John F. Hanlon as President, an order providing for early voting.
Motion made and second for favorable action. You want to explain some of that to us, then, Mike?
Sure,
What it is?
hold on.
I'm asking the city clerk if he wouldn't explain a little bit what early voting means. Okay? If there's no objections. Go ahead, Michael.
Yep.
Just
Open it up now.
brief explanation. Yeah, 5 minutes, Michael.
All right. As you know, the state legislature passed passed a law setting up early voting. Early voting will commence 10 days prior to the election. I think I have some actual dates here. Yes, I do. Early voting will begin October 24th, will be held October 24th, 8 a.m. to 7:30, Tuesday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Wednesday, the 26th, these are all in order, 8 a.m. to 5, Thursday, October 27th, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Saturday, October 28th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Monday, October 31st, from 8 a.m. to 7:30, Tuesday, November 1st, from 8 a.m. to 5, Wednesday, November 2nd, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Thursday, November 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and Friday, November 4th, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. These will all be at the Kaverian Room, the George Kaverian Room. The Election Commission did a public service announcement today where they go into more detail and explain how it works. And so they have all the information, but it's, they did a public service today, which they explained to the voter how they early vote, what happens when they come up to City Hall. So if you can watch, and they're going to run that, I believe, on the school committee's channel as well. So it'll be on 22 and 15, 16, whatever.
Mr. Chairman.
Those are the 10 days for early voting?
Yes. And those will be published in the newspaper, and we will be posting them, well, not me, but they will be posted, we spoke today about putting them maybe in Dunkin' Donuts, as well as the library, the armory, so everyone is aware of the dates.
Councilor Napolitano?
Thank you. Through the chair, could I ask the clerk a question?
Sure.
Okay. This is, you know, human nature, this is bound to happen. Voters are aware that when they vote early, if something occurs between now and Election Day and they change their mind, they cannot come back and pull their vote back and, okay.
It's not like an absentee ballot where you could go to the polls that day, and as long as your ballot hasn't been counted, you may indeed vote in person, then your absentee ballot is voided. But yes, this is
Right.
This is not like that.
When you
Once
vote
you
early,
you
your
voted.
vote is recorded.
Yes, that is
Okay.
true.
I just want to make sure that that is out there.
Yep.
Public, because human nature, something's gonna happen, especially the way this election's
Now,
going.
once you voted
They'll change their
early
mind, come
voting,
in,
you
and
can't come and attempt to vote on Election Day, no.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to our clerk, if it's okay. I noticed that 2 of the dates were dates that are out of the operation of normal for City
Yes.
Hall, Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
And why were those chosen as opposed to maybe trying to stay within the hours of operation? So as not
They want to
create
have as
additional
many
expense?
dates as possible, and on, for instance, the Saturdays, we will be reimbursed by the state for our costs.
Okay, and how about the Friday as well?
The Fridays, yeah, no, normal business, because it's a normal business day.
Just not for the city? of
Right,
Boston?
for the Secretary of State's office, for the state government, we're open.
They will reimburse Saturday?
They will.
Do we have any idea what the cost on that would be to manage?
No, but I think they're giving us $3,500, I think, for the 2 days.
Okay.
That's the number that stuck in my head, was $3,500 for the 2 days.
Councilor Matusky?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the city clerk, there's 12 precincts,
They all vote at that one place.
but there is 12 precincts
Yes.
in the city. So, somebody from Ward 1, Precinct 2, I'm just using an
Right.
example, their ballot's going into a machine.
No. No, it's going into an envelope very similar to an absentee ballot, and will be delivered to the polls on Election Day and then fed in.
Oh, same process.
Right.
Now, what if somebody wanted an absentee? Is the same process? They have to, Cavarian rule?
No, if they want an absentee, they go to the, just like they all.
Vote over the counter, I meant.
Right, they go to room 34.
So
I don't know
room-
why they would vote over the counter when they could come in and early vote.
Well, say, for instance, are the ballots ready yet?
Yes.
Somebody comes in tomorrow,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, if they were to come in prior to the 24th. Yes, they would go to room 34. Same
so-
process.
and it's
as
an
before.
absentee process then?
Yes,
But you don't have to do an absentee application in order?
yes, they will.
The same process goes,
And early voting actually does an early voting application. No, they come in and they go to a, it's a long thing. We're getting a couple of screens for them where they'll be able to look up the voter right away. They go in, they vote, but then their ballot goes in an envelope similar to the absentee ballot envelope. And they fill that out with the warden precinct, so it's all delivered to the proper precincts.
okay, thank
In
you.
some communities are doing a central tabulation. I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
And this is going to be
We had
for,
2 options. The Election Commission chose to take the second option, which I think is far better.
and this is for all elections from henceforth on?
No, I believe it's for the presidential and state elections only. Whether or not they decide to do it for local elections, that's up to the commission.
Commission meaning city commission?
They, yeah, if they want, yeah, that's up to them. With a
Okay.
smile on my face to say, not me, that's up to them.
So that's an optional thing?
Huh?
That's optional for the, for a
For
city
municipal elections, yes,
election? Okay, thank
but
you.
not for the biennial state elections. It's not.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
okay. With no further discussion, all in favor of the order? All opposed?
order.
The order is passed already, okay.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Delasolo.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio. Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes?
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion to
Mr.
Nine
President.
ayes, 0 nays. You have passed the order.
Made it. Second, anybody?
Made a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? We adjourn.